Hello, everybody. Welcome in. Welcome to InvestAnswers TA Tuesday. Today is a big day, especially because of everything that happened in the marketplace. And also today I'm going to do two videos. The first one is obviously technical analysis, and the second one is about Coinbase IPO. So today is TA Tuesday. I'm going to look at volume profile, and I'm going to look at it in conjunction with some of our favorite holdings within the Patreon community. That is Bitcoin, Microstrategy, Tesla, and Palantir. And I'll show you why this is my favorite indicator of all and why I do not leave home without it, literally. So VPSV is volume profile session volume. Strange name. I didn't coin the term. And this channel, of course, is about math, money, and freedom. And this is one of the key tools I use to identify when to get in, when to get out, or when not to get out. And that's a very important point I'll talk to later as well as we go through the session. So let's look at the definition of what it is. VPSV displays all trading volume profile on a chart, and the total volume is made up of buy volume and sell volume. Very important, and we're going to go, of course, a lot deeper. Now, in simple terms, it helps me understand and gauge exactly who's in control, who's doing the buying or who's doing the selling, who's bullish, who's bearish, and at what price level. And that is so critical. And I'll walk you through exactly what it means and then show exact examples that you guys can all use every single day. So why I use VPSV? I use it to identify areas of support and resistance by looking at how money flows into an asset. And this is so important, because if there's a lot of money flowing in, obviously, the price will go up. If there's no money flowing in, but there's money flowing out, the price is going to go down. And striking that fine balance is so important. And that's why, for those in the Patreon community, every chart that I show, every trade that I do, you'll always see the blue and the yellow bars. Now, very quickly, how do I use it and what do I use it for? So the volume profile helps determine support and resistance levels, first of all. Second of all, it helps show how market participants are reacting to price levels. Are they still buying, or do they start selling, etc.? It's also a tool to identify intraday trade entry and exit points. When should you buy? And where is the support level? Where is the resistance level? When should you get out? Etc. It also gives you special insight. And I'll talk more about that very soon, so stay tuned. Now, one thing as well I do want to mention, there's another thing called VPVR, which is volume profile visible range. Now, that's where you use the VPVR over a period of time. It could be 3 months, 6 months, a year, whatever. I don't find this useful at all because things change so much. I just like to look at a trading period, and that typically would be an 8-hour trading day within the stock market, or in the case of Bitcoin, it's a 24-hour period. So very important to note as well how I use it. And you can, of course, do what you want. So let's talk about a few of the key elements. First of all, this is what a typical VPSV chart will look like. You'll see the blue and the yellow bars. I'll talk about those. But the key thing is a line called point of control. And that's the red line in this particular chart here. This is the highest volume node that exists on the profile. And it shows you where the most of the buying and selling happens. Now, it's very important as well. We'll go in a little bit what the breakdown is. And if you look carefully, you'll see I have numbers in every single bar. And that shows me the difference between the buyers and the sellers. Now, the other important thing is this shows you where the support or resistance is. And again, remember my very first TA video was all about drawing your trend lines. Well, that is also very important for these types of analysis as well. And I'll show you in some actual examples. So the blue is what's called up volume, and the yellow is what's called down volume. Now, if the blue is the yellow, it means is bigger than the yellow, it means the buyers are in control. And if the yellow is bigger than the blue, it means the sellers are in control. And again, you'll see all the little numbers in my charts. When we look at the live charts, you'll see exactly why that's important and what it means. Now, another thing, as I always stress with you all, don't just trade on technical analysis alone. It's very important to know the macro of what's happening. And I'm going to give you a real life case here of Microstrategy and what I mean by the macro. So basically, if you're just trading based on what's on the charts, you're going to miss the big picture, and sometimes you might make a mistake. You might get out too early or get in too early, whatever the case may be. So exactly a week ago, I posted a video on why I was very bullish on Microstrategy again, and also because the JP Morgan fund, they were embracing Bitcoin and they were building a crypto fund, and the biggest holding in that crypto fund is, of course, Microstrategy, making up 20% of that fund. And I knew that would bring a lot of buying over the coming weeks. In addition, I saw that Microstrategy was lagging Bitcoin because Bitcoin was up 25% in a month and Microstrategy only went up 16%. And normally they are kind of in sync through my arbitration model, which you guys on Patreon all know about. And also, the JP Morgan fund, as I said, would start buying up a ton of shares. And I know that the float is very tight on MicroStrategy. So another way to use this special chart is here. You will see today, this is today's chart, it's all blue. That means it's all buyers. And there's only a tiny bit of yellow. That means there's very few people selling and everybody is buying. And that's why MicroStrategy went up $131 today, or more than 18%. On my list of things that I look at is about 100 names. That was the second highest performing item after XRP, believe it or not. So, and in addition, it's up another $17 in after hours. So it's a $150 move basically in MicroStrategy in one day. So talk about nailing it a week ago, knowing that this would happen and the demand would simply gobble up. And this is very similar to my thesis as well for Bitcoin. The supply is very low. The demand is very high. The only way is up. It's the same thing. So the corollary between Bitcoin and MicroStrategy is huge in so many ways. And if you watched any of my videos, you'd know about that. So that's an important thing that you can see from this actual chart. So the charting tool I'm going to use today is, of course, TradingView as normal. And many ask which version I use. I use Pro Plus of TradingView. So the VPSV charts we're going to look at today are going to be Bitcoin, MicroStrategy, Tesla, and Palantir. And as usual, let's jump in and look at those charts. So here we are in the charts. We're going to look at 4 today, as I mentioned in the presentation: Bitcoin, MicroStrategy, Tesla, and Palantir. These are the 4 names, not only 4 of my biggest holdings, but also 4 of the big names who work very closely with Patreon every day. And I have a second video coming up, but today was a huge day in so many respects. And let's look at the charts. So real quick, Bitcoin and VPSV. Why is it important? So first of all, I'm going to show you here on the left-hand side. This is for a 1-day period, which is the full day today. We were about to go into it. Oh, we just went into a new period. So we just missed the over 3,500 up gains of the last day. And it's already starting off strong. It's already up $120, $140 in a matter of minutes since the day opened. But the thing I want to show you here is the point of control. And this is where the buyers jump in. Now, if you've seen any of my other videos and my dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin video, it's all about once Bitcoin breaks an all-time high, it gaps up. This is when the big money is forced to jump in. They can no longer bottom fish Bitcoin. They got to jump in and grab it before it goes parabolic. And that's why you see this gap up here. And that's why it happens so fast. The buyers couldn't react quick enough. There were people selling here at the 60,400 level. The sellers exceeded the buyers. They're probably kicking themselves for selling so early. But once it gapped up, then you know it was off to the races. And here you can see the range of buyers to sellers. More buyers, more buyers, more buyers, more buyers, more buyers, more buyers, all the way up to the top, all the way. It's buying, it's accumulation all the time. Now, the red line you see here is the point of control. This acts like kind of like de facto support for Bitcoin as we jump in. And you can see it just bounces around. And that's where the biggest volume is. And that's where all the buying action happens, exactly at 63,000. You can't make this stuff up. These numbers aren't made by me. These numbers are made by the chart. This is the point of control. This $63,000 level is the point at which everybody is buying and grabbing and accumulating Bitcoin. All the big money, the wall of money is flowing in. And in the minutes I've just been talking, Bitcoin's up another $150, $200. So it's crazy. Expect a big day, bigger accumulation. That's fun. But let's look at MicroStrategy. What's really important to look at here is what happened today. Now, in this particular instance, and one of the real messages, the secrets of why I love this is, again, you see all the buying and selling action. This is why I can't even think about not having this on a daily basis. So MicroStrategy today, when you look at all the stocks on my watch list, the second biggest performer after XRP was MicroStrategy, up over 18%, and then up an additional, I can't remember what it was, 18, 17 points in after hours. Crazy, crazy performance. But the reason why is because of what I told you guys last week. JP Morgan and their fund, they're buying, and they have to buy like crazy because they have huge high net worth individuals wanting their new crypto fund. So here you can see all the way up, blue, 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 blue. People sold it this morning at $740. They're probably kicking themselves that they did that. And after that, all the way, there was a little bit of selling at the $840 level, but it was gobbled up. So nothing but pure buying. And that's why it's so critical to look at these charts and understand the power between buyers and sellers. Nobody's selling. There's no volume. There is so much parallel with Bitcoin. It's unbelievable. And we're going to get to a stage real soon where Bitcoin won't actually have any supply and price will just go crazy, just like we saw here. Now, the other interesting thing to note is because there's no supply, in the after hours, it gapped up completely. Again, it closed at 845, and now it's at 864. So it went up another $20. And you get the message of why I like VPSV? Hope so. Tesla, another nice holding that we like to look at. Let's look at Tesla again and why it's important to really get a feel for this actual chart. Now, I'm going to move this a bit to the left. So Tesla this morning, it opened up slow. There was a lot of selling at the $711 mark, and then the buyers started stepping in. And then it's kind of like a little bit of buying, a little bit of buying, a little bit of buying, until it hit 735. Then the big money came in, and then the buyers were strongly in control. You can see here 51,000 buy orders versus 30,000 sell orders, etc. So all the way up. Now, what you can also notice about this chart that's important to know is this point of control is only here slightly because the one above just missed it by a fraction. But two big areas of huge Tesla accumulation are happening on this chart. The first one is at the 740 level, and the second one is at the 760 level. Again, these are areas where big money is buying and accumulating big time. Just like I said in my video yesterday, Tesla is ranked the number 12 asset in the world. It's going to number 7 by the end of the year. Again, very bullish on Tesla, very bullish on MicroStrategy, very bullish on Bitcoin, all for obvious reasons. So let's look at the final chart of the day, Palantir. And what I'm going to show you here as well is something a little bit different and a couple of lessons. One, yesterday, it's important to look at yesterday's chart. You can see here, let me zoom in a little bit for you so you can all see. Huge amount of sellers. Again, if you are looking to accumulate in Palantir, and this is the key message here for everybody, there's many, many messages if you can look through all this stuff. But one is the beauty of this chart, it helps you time your entrance into the market when you get in. Now, if you're looking at the chart here and it's falling, and you notice nobody's buying, nobody's buying, nobody's buying, nobody's buying. Do you want to buy or do you want to wait for it to stabilize? That's the secret here. So you wait and you wait. And then the other thing that I like to do, as usual, I like to use 2 indicators. So I'm going to add a second indicator, of course. I'm going to add my RSI. And as usual, always like to have RSI at 10. And the key here is you can see down at the bottom, that little indicator so you can all see. The RSI dips down to 9 here, and it corresponds with the point of control line and where the buying happens. So right before the buyers come in, the RSI tanks out, indicating it's completely oversold. And that is the time, and that is the affirmation you need to know that this new level of Palantir at about 23 bucks, that is your support line. That is when you can jump in and get confident and start picking up and accumulating positions. So let's look at today and see exactly what went on. We'll go to the one-day chart. Again, you can see here, I like to look at all my numbers. We don't actually need this RSI anymore because we're just looking at the point of control. And you'll see here, accumulation all day, all day, all day. The blue is in control all day, all day, all day, up until we got above $25.50. That's the point at which the sellers start jumping in and they start selling and they start overpowering the buyers. And that's why Palantir was shot up all day up into this level, but $25.65. And then the bears were in control and they pushed the price down. And that's why it's dipped and also continued to dip into the aftermarket. So that's why it's so important to look at these numbers. And that's why I don't leave home without them. So I hope you like this content. Let's jump to the conclusions real quick. So before we jump into the conclusions, a quick disclaimer, of course, everything that I showed in this video is for edutainment only. None of this is investment advice, and please consult with your investment advisor if you're considering taking any action. And finally, the conclusions. Real quick, I cannot live without VPSV. I've been using it for quite some time, and I wouldn't feel comfortable not knowing what money flows are going in or out of an asset class. For me, it is great for affirming support levels and tops in conjunction with RSI, as we showed in that example. And beware, do not trade on technical analysis alone. Make sure you always take into account fundamentals. So future TA Tuesday videos, just show you what else we have on the deck. Today we just covered VPSV, but there's a lot more coming. A lot of people are asking for Bollinger Bands, stochastics, Fibonacci, etc., and that's all coming. So thank you for being part of the series. And finally, watch for scammers. They are everywhere. They're up in their game. And check out my video on this so you know exactly how not to be fooled by these scammers. And the link to the video, as always, is right up there. So check it out if you haven't seen it already, because I'm still getting questions. Do you want me to call you and stuff like that? I will never share my number. I will never reach out to you. We just communicate through the internet. And I don't want your crypto. I want you to be successful and free. That's what I want. So again, if you like this content, hit the like and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much, everybody.